Hey guys, my name is Natalina, and in today's video we're gonna be testing out tons of makeup. We have tons of new releases. For example, this foundation by Too Faced is called Born This Way Soft Matte Oil Control Foundation, 24-hour wear. It has hyaluronic acid in it. It promises us to give us like a 24-hour smoothness, that it's wet and humidity resistant. It will hold your moisture for at least 12 hours. It's a non-creasing and uncaking for 24-hour foundation. I have this one in the shade Light Beige. Then I have a concealer by Natasha Denona. It's called High Glam Concealer. Mine comes in the shade N7. It's my second one. It's not a new release. For it, I don't know, but in Serbia, in our Sephora, it costs around 50 euros, which is, it's like similar to $50, which is like an excessive amount of money for a concealer. I just wanted to like show some love to this concealer. Moving on, it's called Bronzing and Shaping Serum. The packaging just blew my mind. We have a pump here. There's a liquid applicator on the inside. This would work incredibly well for the personal use, and this one for makeup artists. I cannot express how much I love this packaging. Then I have 3 blushes. It's by brand Made by Mitchell. I have a blush here in the shade Sweet Cheeks, and I have 2 highlighters in the shade Penny from Heaven and Sprinkles. Next, we have this palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's called Spice. In that release, there were 2 palettes, Sugar and Spice, but they don't sell the sugar one in our Sephora, unfortunately. In the shop at the shelf, it looked amazing. The sparkles were sparkling, and it drew my attention from far, far away. But this is the trick that makeup shops use. Or, for example, jewelry stores, they use the same technique. They place really harsh light over a sparkly product, and it makes every single sparkly particle pop. But now I can see that this shade and my top are the exact same color. Here we have only 2 matte shades. Then we have 3 shades which are matte with some sparkles in it, 1 satin shade, and 3 shimmer shades. Also, I have a new mascara by Charlotte Tilbury. It's called Exaggerize. This mascara case is so freaking heavy. It's made of glass and it's like really sturdy, but it doesn't feel that luxurious, I would say. I don't like the new ornaments by Charlotte Tilbury, which she places on her newer releases. Doesn't look that luxurious to me. So it has a curved. Then I also do have this new powder by Laura Mercier. It's called Loose Setting Powder Ultra Blur. I love the original Laura Mercier powder. It's like the OG powder for me. I've been through so many jars of that powder, and I always have it on hand. And we have a lip gloss by Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's not one of her like recent releases, but still, it comes in the shade Latte. Then I have an universal pencil by the brand 1999. It comes in the shade Barna. It's not a gel pencil, so it doesn't set. You can use it as a base for your winged eyeliner, for example, for your eyeshadows. It blends amazing, but it doesn't set, so it's not for your waterline. No, it's just like a base for your eyeshadow, for your winged eyeliner, and you can use it as a lip liner as well. So let's try everything out. Let's start with the eyes, and because of that, I will apply the foundation on this area right here. Just because I'm not sure about the fallout of the eyeshadows, I will start blending it out using a sponge. The foundation looks nice when blended out. It looks very natural and matte, I would say. It did accentuate the texture and my dry spots. I'm starting my makeup using the P. Louise eyeshadow base. Then I'm going in with the universal eye pencil. I'm applying it to my outer V, and I'm blending out using a synthetic brush. I'm also creating a V-shaped winged eyeliner on my outer V. And then I'm setting everything in place using the darkest shade from the palette. I'm just gently gently pressing it on and blending it out further. So it's a nice shade, it blends out smoothly, there are no problems with this particular shade whatsoever. And I'm also starting creating a crease, and I'm adding a bit of the matte shade with some sparkles in it, but they just like fly away the minute my brush touches my lid. Then I apply the second matte shade to my outer V. It also blends out beautifully in my opinion, and yeah, so I'm creating a V shape on my outer corner. Then I decided to add all of the three shimmers to my lid. I applied one to my inner corner, the second one, a greenish one, to the center of my lid, and the pinky one I decided to add to my inner corner as a highlighter. This bronzy shade goes to the lower lid. I'm blending it out, and I decided to add a bit of duochrome pencil to my waterline. So now I'm using the mascara, and you can definitely tell the brush is covered with mascara, but it didn't do much for my ashes, as you can definitely tell. Yes, are done. Moving back to the face makeup. I like the packaging of this foundation because it has a pump, and actually the actual packaging is really soft, so you can squeeze all of the product out. So let's blend it out using a sponge. Actually, in the shop, there were no testers presented for this foundation, so I'm delighted with my color matching skills even without a tester. This foundation blends out nicely. It doesn't accentuate any pores, any texture, any dry spots, and it exceeds my expectations, to be honest. I feel like that you have to give this foundation up to 15 minutes to set, because foundation with a matte finish, they need this time to properly set. Now let's use this bronzing and contouring serum. I'd like to use the dough applicator and a sponge. Mine comes in the shade medium. It has a very thin consistency. Just blend it out with a clean side of a sponge. It's kind of sheer, so I have to apply a bit more, and maybe let's try it blending it out with a brush. It looks so delicate, but still so beautiful. Let's apply a bit of the product here. The texture is so thin and so gel-like. I thought that it would melt through my foundation and take away some of the foundation while blending, but it doesn't, and it did work perfectly with a natural matte finish foundation. To be honest, I like this a lot. On this side, let's try applying it with a brush from a palette or from the back of your hand. It's incredible that this product is so freaking sheer, but still looks so good, and it's definitely there. But it's not like pigmented whatsoever. And I'm not that sure about this blush shade just because it's so cool and my makeup is mostly warm, so but let's give it a try anyways. I will apply it like so. The shade is so pretty though. Let me blend it out. And I want to drag it out to the center of my face to create a more youthful image. Okay, it looks nice. It blended out incredibly. There is no visible border between the bronzing serum and the blush, so it looks quite good, I must admit. Now, as a highlighter, let's try this blush in the shade Sprinkles, and I will apply only in this particular spot to highlight the highest point of my cheek. I'm blending it into the blush. And now I want to apply some of the golden highlighter here. But this golden highlighter doesn't have a transparent base, so I will blend it out on the back of my hand and will apply it with the tip of my finger. I'm sorry, our neighbors have two dogs. One of them is a German Shepherd, and that bitch has no chills. She's like, it's a guardian dog, I mean, but I don't know what she's up to. Okay, so here we created a little gradient from the pinky silvery shade right into the gold shade, and in my opinion it looks great. And now let's apply some concealer to the center of my face, under the eyes, to my chin. I'm applying concealer as one of the last steps just because I don't have those dark circles and I don't need to conceal anything in this area actually, only maybe here and maybe here, but here I only have my foundation on. Concealer applied as one of the last steps helps you to blend out your cream blush, your cream bronzer further. So now I like to do that as one of the last steps. And also concealer provides you a bit more of a coverage in selected areas. So technically now I'm using this concealer to highlight under my eyes and in certain areas, and also to blend out my blush and to provide a fuller coverage in this area right here. I thought this blush set, and I feel like it's the case here. Now let's try this powder by Laura Mercier. I want to apply it normally, and I also want to bake. So here let's apply it with a brush. Okay, my skin definitely started looking matte. It didn't erase my texture like those powders containing tons of silica. It looks fine. Let's try baking with this powder. Let's swipe it away. Here it looks a bit cakey, but in order to get rid of that, I have to use some fixing spray. Here it looks more natural, so both ways work. For the lips, I'd like to use the same pencil that I've used for my eyes, and let's see what happens. And I'll blend it out slightly using my finger. I'm blending the pencil toward the center of the lips. And now let's apply the lip gloss. This lip gloss is really pigmented. I feel like I applied way too much. So my makeup look is complete. It's giving fall, it's giving cinnamon. And let's discuss all of the products that we've tried today. So first let's talk about this foundation, Born This Way, Soft Matte. I feel like so many brands have this really weird and exclusive names to them. Like with Charlotte Tilbury, for example, it's Pillow Talk. With Too Faced, it's Born This Way. I'm a bit tired of that because Too Faced literally has a foundation called Born This Way. This one is also called Born This Way. I'm a bit confused, but anyways, I like this foundation. It has a medium coverage, I would say. You can definitely build it up in the areas where you need that. I think it's been more than 4 hours since the initial application. But I've included a wear test into this video. The only thing about this foundation which you have to have in mind, this foundation has a natural matte finish. It's that this foundation becomes a bit darker just because it dries, it sets. It's not an oxidation process, because oxidation, it means that a product reacts with your skin pH or with the oxygen. But the first foundation from Fenty Beauty also was doing that, and it's a very normal thing for a matte foundation to do. So I would advising it swatching your neck, on your face, and spend around like 10 or 15 minutes with that, and then decide with the shade. But still, I feel like that this shade match is a great one actually. Today while I was filming, my lighting situation was changing quite a bit, because at first it was very sunny outside, and despite the fact that I have shades, they're not like the blackout type of shades, so it was reflecting on my skin, and at some point my skin started looking like really orange, but I mean now it looks good. I think it looks good. So I really like this foundation, and I want to try it more and more, and we'll see what happens. It's been around 9 hours since the initial application, maybe a bit more. So I like my eye makeup because it looks perfect. I like my bronzer, I like my blush and the highlighter. I've touched up my makeup several times using the powder just because I was filming. The sides of my face are not oily, so they're completely dry, but for whatever reason they look a bit oily, so I don't know. But other than that, I changed my lip liner to the Natasha Denona one, and this foundation slipped a bit from my breakouts. But other than that, I feel like it were okay. I'm not the biggest fan of this area. Moving on to one of my favorite concealers. It's by Natasha Denona in the shade N7. I switched to this concealer from Tarte Shape Tape, and Tarte Shape Tape used to be my staple since the year 2017, or when was it released? Maybe a bit later, maybe in 2018. So it's been more than 4 or 5 years. I still like it, but I ran out of that And then I bought this one just to give it a try, because I buy all of the newer launches from Natasha Denona and I fell in love. Honestly, it's the second one. I have tons of different concealers just sitting in my drawer. Why do I like it? Because it has a medium coverage. It's not matte. It's not glowy. It's definitely there, but you can thin it out and apply it all over your face. I would have loved a foundation with this same texture and finish and coverage. It's an amazing concealer. It doesn't set in your fine lines. It doesn't accentuate any of your texture, your pores, your peach fuzz. No, you're good to go. And it has a decent coverage, and you can build it up to your liking or thin it out again to your liking. It's an amazing concealer. I usually use it on the everyday basis. So usually when I drive in the morning to the gym or when I go like grocery shopping, I have rosacea. So because of that, I apply tiny dots of concealer all over, not all over my face, but over my red areas on the face, especially on the nose here, and just a teeny tiny bit on the chin. And then I blend it out using a sponge in like 10 seconds while my gates are opening. And I also apply a bit of eyebrow gel from any brand out there, actually. And then when I stop at the first traffic light, which is really close to my house, I apply a decent amount of hairs using a brow pen. And I'm done for the day or for the next couple of hours. So you won't be seeing this one that much just because it spends 99% of the time in my purse, which I'm carrying with me around. Moving forward to this bronzing, contouring, shaping serum. It's such an amazing product. It has this weird serum-like, gel-like consistency. It's very thin. It doesn't have tons of coverage in it. I feel like it's a bit too light because this shade is called medium, and you can definitely tell that I'm nowhere close to the shade medium. But I love this product. You can apply it with your fingertips. You can apply it with a sponge, with a brush. My preferred method of the application would be using a fluffy synthetic brush. I like to apply some of the product to the back of my hand or to a palette. Both work amazing. And what I like about this texture and this product particularly is just that it doesn't give you tons of coverage, but you don't feel it on your face. You can build up that coverage and that color, and it blends amazingly, and you don't feel it on your skin. So when I applied foundation, of course, you do feel this foundation because it has a matte finish and all of that. It has a medium coverage. But with this product, it felt like nothing had happened because it was so like sheer, but it blended out beautifully. I was not expecting that. I thought that it would be very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand or whatever it's called, but that product melts through some foundations, especially those foundations with a matte finish. So yeah, but here it's an amazing product. I love this so much. Now let's talk about these face products made by Mitchell. They have a bit of a weird texture, especially the blush. I mean, weird not in a bad way. It feels like a matte lipstick, like a mousse matte lipstick, because it sets. So if you were to put like 5 dots on this cheek and 5 dots on this cheek, you wouldn't be able to blend it out, because after blending this cheek out, this would set, and you'd be left with dry spots on your face. So you have to work like really fast, and I think it's better to apply it to one cheek, blend it out, and then move to the second cheek. I like the shade. I like how it blended with my foundation, with my bronzer. With these products, I'm just not the biggest fan. They're okay just to get this straight, but there's nothing special about them. I mean, this pink shade, I for the reason thought that it would be more duochromy, if it makes sense, but it's just like a pinkish silverish highlighter. The golden shade looks fine, but if you're of a lighter complexion like myself, for example, then it's better to blend it out using your fingertips, just because this shade has a really strong gold base. So if you applied it in a thick layer, it would leave a dark stripe on your face. So these products are, I don't know, I think I just have to spend more time playing with them. Moving to the powder, I don't see any difference between this one and the OG one. This was good, but nothing like crazy, nothing special about this. I mean, Laura Mercier powders are great. They're one of the best, if not the best ones. There was nothing different from her usual quality, from her usual formula. I thought that it was a different formula formulated with more of silica, because it's called ultra blur. So, and usually silica is that component that helps to erase your pores, but it's not the case. My pores, they are not accentuated whatsoever, but they look as usual, I would say. Now let's talk about this mascara. It didn't do much for my eyelashes, to be honest. I love voluminous lashes. I always use lashes with like false lashes effect. The brush is covered with mascara, but it doesn't stay on your eyelashes. It didn't provide tons of volume. I layered it multiple times, as I usually do, because I prefer my lashes to be like voluminous and thick and big and all of that. But here, no. Of course, I will use it one more time, like several times more, and it's so heavy. There is a difference between luxury heavy and heavy heavy. You can use it as a weapon, to be honest. It's way too heavy, and I actually don't like these designs, these weird triangles. So it's just, no, it's just not one of my favorites. This pencil worked really nice as a lip liner. It's very important to remember that these type of pencils, they don't set. It doesn't make sense to add them to your waterline, for example, because these pencils are not made for this. You can blend them easily, and this is the main reason for this type of pencils to exist, to blend them out, to play with the shape of your eyes, but the pencil is okay. Now this lip gloss, it also works fine. It doesn't separate, it does not create like a white line here. It's a nice shade too. So the motto of today's video is nothing special. Like for real, there is nothing special about all of these products. And our last item would be this palette right here. This one looked so much better in the lighting in the shop, because all of the sparkles in all of the shades were just popping and were just like screaming my name. But I mean, I like Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadows. These two matte shades worked perfectly. I mean, they blend out amazingly. They're really pigmented, they're not patchy whatsoever, so I did really like it. These shades have like a red undertone, so they're leaning more forward to warmth. That's what I'm saying, and I actually like this smaller palettes from Anastasia Beverly Hills. For example, I'm a fan of this palette right here. It's called Sultry, like a mini sultry palette. It's an amazing palette because here you have your warm tones for blending out your crease, also a cooler brown and a really like cool brown, like a grayish color, because it's a mixture of gray and beige. You also have a neutral brown and a black, and you have 4 amazing shimmers. I really like this palette for the everyday wear. I thought that these sparkles were a bit more interesting, but I do truly enjoy my makeup, but there is nothing special about that. Yeah, this palette I can recommend, like without a doubt, but this one I'm still not so sure. But mind you that the pans are not huge. Each pan has 0.95 grams, which is 0.03 ounces, so it doesn't have tons of product, but still Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadows are great. I think that's it for today. Let me know in the comments below, have you tried any of these products? Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!